How is everybody? Good. Oh, you're better than that. How's everybody? Good. So today I want to talk to you about your personal ceiling. So you might be saying, well, what does that mean? A personal ceiling for me is something that I can break through. It might be low, it might be high, it might be glass. For so many of us, especially women, that's been our life, right? You start to think about all of the things that you can do and all of the people tell you that you cannot do. So that's your personal ceiling. Personally and professionally, where is your ceiling? If you think about it right now, where your job is, where your family is, where you are professionally, are you where you want to be? Is it your fault? Is it somebody else's fault? And that's what I mean by a personal ceiling. We live in a world right now where it is so very difficult not to compare yourself to other people, not to feel like you're that person who deserved the promotion but you didn't get it, not to feel like you're working so hard towards something but for whatever reason somebody else is being rewarded for the work that you have done. Again, your personal ceiling. And sometimes people stop you from getting to your ceiling. Sometimes that's how I feel. If you think about it, especially when we were all working from home, there was really no oversight. You could kind of do what you wanted to do at your house, right? You get to wear your pajamas, you get to do Zoom calls, and only people could see this much. So there really wasn't that much of a personal ceiling because all we really had to do was do enough in that one moment to get to where we needed to be. And generally where you need to be is just to get your paycheck. So I want to talk to you today about complacency versus just being someplace. Being complacent and being content. To me, complacent means that I'm just there. I'm just accepting where I am. It's what it is. I'm complacent. I get a paycheck every 2 weeks. I can do 70% of my job and nobody really cares. Somebody else is going to pick up the slack. That's complacent. Content to me is enjoying the climb. So one thing somebody once told me was, don't always be so worried about your goal that you don't enjoy the climb. I have lived in a lot of different cities and a lot of different places during my career. I have always been content where I was, but I was never complacent. I knew that at some point there was going to be something else that was bigger, something else that was better, someplace else that I wanted to make it to. I was content to be where I was at the time, but I wasn't complacent. So you might be saying to yourself, well, how can I tell the difference? Well, sometimes that's really hard. I look at my life sometimes and I say, okay, wait, being complacent or am I being content? It's hard to notice that sometimes, especially when we're looking at what we're doing on a basis. We live in a world where there is a lot of competition, right? But we also live in a world where maybe it's up to us. Maybe it's up to yourself to figure out, okay, can I really do that? Is that something that I'm able to work on? Is there some place that I'm able to get to? I think the one thing for me that stops me from hitting my ceiling or getting past that ceiling is when I feel like there's nothing more that I can do. When I feel like life is continuing to push me further and further and further down, and my ceiling keeps getting lower and lower and lower, and all I can do is just hope that maybe the ceiling doesn't touch my head. I'm just like, I just want to get past this one thing. You know, it's kind of like, I like to always think of this thing of feathers on your head, right? You put one feather on top of your head, you don't feel it. You put 5 feathers on top of your head, you're probably not going to feel it. 10, maybe. 100, you're really starting to feel it. So what I mean is, it's kind of like that old adage that you're thinking of yourself like, okay, so this one thing has happened to me. Now this other thing has happened to me. Now 10 things have happened to me. Now 100 things have happened to me this week. How on earth am I going to get done what I need to get done? So when I think of things like that, I think about strategic seating. You may be saying, well, what is that supposed to mean? This is a lot of stuff she's throwing at me. Well, I think of my goals as strategic seating. When you buy tickets to a concert, don't you pick the seat you want? You would never want somebody else to go pick the seat because then you get to the concert and you're like, I don't want to sit here. You may only have $25 to go to that concert. So you're going to pick the seat that's worth $25. Maybe you have infinite dollars. So you're going to pick the seat right up front so you can see exactly who you want to see, right? Why are your goals not the same way? How are you ever going to get to your ceiling if you're not strategically placing each and everything that you do in your life? It's about being intentional constantly, no matter how hard it is. So for me, I always use something called LAND. It's an acronym. If I want to land on my goals, LAND. L stands for listening. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. My mother used to tell me that all the time. I was the kid in 2nd grade who had to keep getting moved in the class because I was talking to everybody who sat next to me. I did not care who you were. I did not care if I knew you. I did not care if we had anything in common. I just wanted to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about at that moment. Well, in life, it's kind of not like that, right? I used to have a soccer coach who used to always come into the locker room after the game. Let's say we won that game. She would say, "This was a really awesome win for us today. You did this, you did this, you did this. It's fantastic. I really appreciate your work. Enjoy this win today, but tomorrow's a new day." We'd lose. She'd say, "Hey, so this is what happened today. You did this, you did this, you did this. I want you to think about what you did today because you learn a heck of a lot more from losing than you do winning. And tomorrow is a new day." And I would sit in the locker room, and I was that kid that was like, this makes absolutely no sense. She says the same thing every time we win or lose. Maybe that's the part we need to be listening to. That whether it's a win or a loss in one day, maybe that's how we're getting closer and closer to our ceiling. If you lose, you're learning a lot about what's going on, right? You're learning about what went wrong, what didn't I do, why did my boss call me in his office today? If you're one of these young kids in the room right now, why didn't I get an A on that test? Why does it seem like chemistry is so hard? Well, because chemistry is hard. That's true. Just gonna put that out there. But why, right? So you think about the wins and the losses. You listen to the good information that you're being given, whether that's from a mentor, whether that's from a teacher, whether that's from a parent. When you're listening, you're learning how you can get to that goal, how you can get to the ceiling. That's the L in LAND. A. A is for authenticity. We hear a lot these days about AI, right? Well, I'm not talking about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about authentic individuals. People who have no problem going into a room and being exactly who they are. Exactly who you are on a daily basis. Why is there something wrong with that? Why can't you bring your authentic self to where you need to go to so that you can make it to your goals? Why is that so difficult? It's difficult because that's the world we live in. We consistently go places where people tell us who we're supposed to be, tell us how we're supposed to act, tell us how we're supposed to look. In my case, how I'm supposed to cut my hair, what outfit I'm supposed to wear, this is how you're supposed to speak. Why is that? Why are we accepting that? Be your authentic self. Come to the table with who you are and what you have to offer. It will help you get to your ceiling faster than you can ever imagine. So that's the A in LAND. N is for nurture. This one's my favorite. So you're not going to believe this, but when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I went to a Catholic school, and there wasn't that many kids in the school, but there was a talent show that day. And they had given us, like a month's notice. Well, at the time, the only thing I was doing as a talent or as a sport was I was doing gymnastics. I was horrible at it. Terrible. Horrible. Like so bad that my mom finally had to tell my dad, "Listen, I don't think this is the thing for her." But everybody else in the school, their parents had all these means, right? Their parents had all this money, so they were doing tap, they were doing jazz, they were playing an instrument, they were able to sing, all these kids were able to do all this stuff. And my mom's like, "Well, you got to find a talent because you got to do it." My mother, I love her, but Regina made me recite the Gettysburg Address in front of everybody at the school. Now, when you're 6 or 7, are you thinking, this is probably not the coolest thing that I could do? You're not thinking that. My mom told me, this is going to be your talent. You're going to learn all 273 words of this. And even though it took President Abraham Lincoln 2.5 minutes to say it, you're going to probably get it done in about 5 minutes. But we're going to do it no matter what. And yes, to this day, I can still say it. I'm not going to do it, but yes, I can. So my point here is, at 6 or 7 years old, you look at a kid and you tell them that this is the speech that they're going to give in front of an entire class of people who have these really cool talents, but my talent is going to be to recite something that somebody did like a long time ago. And Mom, by the way, I don't even know who Abe Lincoln is because I'm 6. But I did it. All 273 words, and I'm pretty sure I did it under 5 minutes. And I did it because she nurtured me. That's the N in land. You have to find people who will nurture you. You have to find people who are in your corner. You have to find people who are consistently wanting you to do better. They want you to be better. My mother used to tell us, you never hang out with people who are not smarter than you. You never hang out with people who don't want what's best for you. And you never hang out with people who don't understand that your ceiling is a lot higher than anybody but you can see. Nurturing is so important when it comes to your goals and when it comes to making it to your personal ceiling. And I also want to remind you that nurturing isn't always as easy as it sounds. Everybody does not want you to win. Everybody is not excited for you. You have to find those people who are genuinely, and they're the ones who authentically want you to be who you are. And finally, the D in land would be to deliver. Just deliver on it. If you're going to work so hard at this life, if you're going to give 100% all the time, if you're not going to worry about what everybody else is doing because they don't care about their jobs or they don't care about their goals, you have to deliver. You have to write these goals down. You have to understand what they are. You tell yourself where you want to be each and every day, and you never take no for an answer. You deliver. So today I ask you, find out where your ceiling is, and are you there? Is it vaulted? Is it low? Is it glass? Whatever it is, you have to make sure that you know where it is and you get past it. So my friends, I ask you again today, where is your personal ceiling? Thank you.